Hello everybody and welcome to Cruise Control. My name's David and I hope this video finds you well. Now we're starting the video off heading aft from the main atrium on deck 6 of the P&O Iona, and we're heading towards the main dining rooms where I'm going to give you an overview of our experiences in the main dining room. We're going to be talking about the food, we're going to be talking about the wine, we're going to be talking about the service. But before we get there, I'm going to give you a quick run-up tour of some of the places that you will find on deck 6 heading aft towards the main restaurants. As we come around the corner, we're going to head towards Anderson's Bar, which is connected to the library that we've just had a quick look in. And Anderson's is where you'll also find the gin distillery. Now, we had a gin and tonic in there, but to be honest with you, in the evening we preferred a cocktail, and because a lot of the cocktails in Anderson's were not included in the classics drinks package, we drank elsewhere, which was a bit of a shame. Also on the aft corridor towards the restaurants is the cinema, showing various movies, most of them very modern. So for example, you can see their Death on the Nile, they had Barbie, they had action films like Indiana Jones, so there's something for everyone. And if it's a rainy sea day, it's a really good option. And you can also, while watching your movies, get a bag of popcorn. Now, we'll continue our long walk to the restaurants, and we'll head back, and we're going to pass the two restaurants that are either side of the main dining room, Pearl. Now, Aqua and Opal they're called. Now, these are smaller restaurants that hug the sides of the ship. We ate in them a number of times. The decor is a little bit different than the Pearl restaurant, which is the big aft restaurant. We didn't really enjoy the smaller restaurants. To be honest, I think it attracted a clientele who felt that they were a cut above the rest. We had a couple of strange looks when we were in there, as if we were sort of interlopers. When we went in there for a couple of breakfasts, and I actually found the service to be just that little bit slower and less friendly in those two restaurants. Now, that was my personal view on things. People may think I'm absolutely crazy to have those ideas, but that was just the impression I got. Anyway, we're going to head down. Now, we normally ate our breakfast, and this video was taken at breakfast time. We normally take our breakfast at about 8 o'clock in the morning, so at that time of the day, there's very rarely a queue. So we would walk straight up. The maitre d's would be there, very friendly, good mornings. You can see the blue cup there because we liked a nice latte or flat white. I've slowed this part of the video down to give you a good impression of what the dining room looks like. One thing I have to impress upon you, which I was bowled over by, was the spacing between the tables. As you can see, there are tables of 2, tables of 4, tables of 6, tables of 8. But where there are tables of 2, there is enough space between each table for you to feel like you are at a table of 2 and not on this long bench, hint hint MSC. There is enough space behind the seats for you to push your seat back and exit from the table without bumping into another chair or into a waiter, hint hint MSC. P&O's Iona main dining room here, which is the Pearl, is for me the exemplar of good spacing, efficient use of space, and great design. So it gets a 10 out of 10 for me straight away, and I haven't even touched the food. The next thing I need to impress upon you is the service. I was bowled over by the quality of the service by the servers. Both server and deputy or their assistant server weren't given too large a section, so that meant that they had a small enough number of tables to properly pay everyone the attention that they deserved or needed. They could chat, they could smile, they weren't running around at a million miles an hour. Now, this is not to say that on some of the cruise lines that we've been on where they have been running around at a million miles an hour, that the service wasn't great and they weren't friendly, but the difference is that you know that the guys, when they were talking to you in the restaurant, they wanted to do that because they had the time and the capacity to do so. So I was really impressed with that, and I think that's another 10 out of 10 for the P&O Iona. Here is a good example of that spacing between the tables. It made a massive difference. You know, you in the evening times, you could sit, you could relax, you could have a conversation with your traveling partner and know that you're not going to be interrupted by the conversation next door, or that you're not going to have your conversation overheard by those sitting around you. The windows at the back of the ship offered fantastic views. Now, we're not the type that would get in there at rush hour and demand a window view seat. You know, if we wanted to request, and we did request window views in the morning because we got there early enough to go and get them. But in the evening time, we took whatever was given. We weren't all that precious. Here's a quick perusal of the breakfast menu. First page is your continentals, such as cereals, yogurts, porridge, muesli, and your pastries. And then on the second menu, or second page, is your hot breakfast. So it's your full English, plus all the different added bits you can add onto that, such as scrambled eggs, hash browns, sausages, vegetarian, bacon. You can get your eggs done differently, and eggs Benedict. And they also had a good selection of fishes. Now, here's a quick run through of what we ate. Now, if you don't like watching people eat, please look away now or skip ahead for a couple of seconds. So I would always start off with a nice bowl of fresh fruit. I have to say the fruit was fabulous. It was never under-ripened or over-ripened, and the yogurt was lovely, and I always went with a full-fat Greek yogurt. You can see just edging in there on the left-hand side of the screen was the toast, which is brought in a toast rack, which I just thought was fantastic. Absolutely loved it. It was never hot, warm, like it would be at home, but it's no different than hotel toast, and it was perfectly edible, and it was perfectly fine. Then I would always go for my full English with poached eggs, and you can see those eggs are cooked perfectly. Not once did I have an issue with my eggs being overcooked or undercooked. The black pudding was good quality. The mushrooms, or sautéed mushrooms, were always well flavored. A little hint of garlic. The bacon was good quality. The hash browns were fine. The sausages, I really enjoyed the sausages. They were no different than your average British banger. And every breakfast was as good as this one. So for breakfast in the main dining room, 10 out of 10 for me. Let's move on to lunchtime. Now, I have to admit, we didn't eat in the main dining room for lunch very often because of the fantastic lunch options available on the ship, especially in the Keys. Now, one thing I do want to get across on this video is we had literally sat down, we managed to make our order, our wine arrived, and I have to be very open and honest with you here. The wine options on the Classic Strings package in the main dining room was fantastic. Lunch arrived, we had sandwiches and chips there. My only criticism of lunch is that the menu for lunch is a little limited, but taking into consideration everything else that is available on the ship, it's not a surprise why. We did eat very often in the main restaurant for evening time. Now, I must apologize, guys, I've got no videos of our evening experience, and the reason for that is I didn't really want to be taking a camera into the main dining rooms in the evenings when everyone's trying to enjoy a relaxing or a special evening. But what I can say to you, and which I can assure you, is the food was absolutely brilliant. There wasn't a dish that I didn't enjoy. The seasoning was fantastic. The food always came out hot. I have to say, I'm going to put it in my top 5 main dining room experiences. And yeah, I was really impressed. Now, guys, this is the time of the video where I want to thank you for watching and sticking around. I hope you found it mildly informative and hopefully somewhat entertaining. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe, please like, and thank you very much for your time.